The first time Folarin seriously considered sending his new wife back to the village was the morning he found 3 pieces of firewood burning behind his house. Not because there was no gas, there were 2 full cylinders in the kitchen. Not because there was no electricity, the estate had 24-hour supplies on most days. And certainly not because his kitchen was inadequate. Folarin had spent millions renovating that kitchen, yet there was his wife squatting happily beside 3 large stones in the backyard, blowing into a fire while smoke traveled straight towards the neighbor's balcony. A large black pot sat over the flames. Folarin stood completely still. "Bolanle!" She turned, her face immediately brightening. "Ah, my husband, though!" Folarin looked at the fire, then looked at her, then back at the fire. "What are you doing?" Bolanle looked so confused. "I dey cook now, my husband." "I can see that. Why are you cooking outside?" She pointed towards the egusi pot. Folarin closed his eyes. "Bolanle, we have a kitchen. We have gas. We have an electric cooker. Then why is there firewood behind my house?" Bolanle stood up and dusted her wrapper. "Because the egusi, if I cook am for firewood, it dey sweet pass." Folarin stared at her. Before he could respond, somebody shouted from the next compound, "Mr. Folarin!" His heart dropped. Their neighbor was standing on his balcony. "Is everything okay? We saw smoke." Folarin forced a smile. Yes, everything is okay, everything is fine." Folarin waved happily. Good morning, sir." The neighbor looked at the fire, then at Bolanle, then at Folarin. Folarin wanted the ground to open, but the worst part was this entire situation had all been his idea. 6 months earlier, Folarin would have told anyone willing to listen that he understood women. At 38, he was doing extremely well for himself. He owned a successful logistics company in Lagos, lived in a beautiful 4-bedroom duplex inside a private estate, and drove the kind of car that made security guards open gates even without checking who was inside. Folarin also loved women. He had dated bankers, lawyers, entrepreneurs, even an influencer whose morning skincare routine had more steps than his entire business plan. But whenever his friends asked which he intended to marry, Folarin would laugh. "Marry who?" One Saturday evening, he was sitting with 3 of his closest friends at an upscale lounge when the subject came up again. "Folarin, you are almost 40. When are you going to settle down?" Folarin leaned back confidently. "My brother, when I am ready to marry, I know what I will do." Tunde laughed. "Please, educate us." Folarin took a sip from his glass. "I will go to the village and marry a simple girl." His friends burst out laughing, but Folarin was serious. "All these Lagos girls are too complicated. Everybody has standards. Everybody has opinions. Everybody wants to travel to Santorini." Kunle stared at him. "So your solution is a village? A woman you don't know?" "Exactly," Folarin said. "I would tell my auntie to find me a good girl, respectful, family-oriented, and knows how to cook. No drama." Kunle laughed so hard he almost spilled his drink. "Folarin, abeg, do this thing. I want entertainment." Folarin pointed at him. "You people are laughing now. When my house becomes peaceful, you would understand." 3 months later, Folarin decided he was ready. His mother had died several years earlier, so he called his mother's younger sister, Auntie Ronke. "Auntie, I want to get married." Auntie Ronke almost screamed. "Folarin, you are ready to settle down?" "Auntie, yes, I am ready to settle down. And I have been begging you for how many years now?" Folarin explained what he wanted. A decent young woman, good family, respectful, beautiful, someone who would build a home. Auntie Ronke eventually introduced him to Bolanle, a 26-year-old woman from their small town in Oyo State. The first time Folarin met her, he liked her. She was beautiful, full-figured, soft-faced, and quiet, or at least she was quiet around him. She wore a beautiful Ankara dress Auntie Ronke had helped her choose and barely looked Folarin in the eye. Folarin mistook that nervousness for the exact personality he had been searching for. Within months, introduction was done. Families met, they married, and Folarin proudly brought his new wife to Lagos. Then that was where he met the real Bolanle. On her first morning in Lagos, Folarin walked downstairs and stopped. Bolanle was sitting in the living room wearing a bright yellow t-shirt and a large Ankara wrapper. Her eyebrows had been drawn so heavily with black eye pencil, Bolanle could see them from the staircase. She had applied a bright red lipstick beyond the natural line of her lips, and beside her mouth was a large artificial beauty mark she had drawn with eyeliner. She was chewing gum aggressively. Folarin stared and Bolanle smiled. Good morning, my honey pie. Folarin nearly missed a step. My what? Honey pie. She apparently had been watching television. Folarin slowly continued downstairs. Then, Bolanle's phone rang. She answered. Hello? Hello? Folarin almost jumped. Bolanle had continued at full volume. I don't reach Male. I don't reach Lagos. Folarin looked around. The house, they're very big. You get like 3 toilets. Bolanle. She covered her phone. Why are you shouting? Male, the village now. How she won't take care of me from here? That was when Folarin knew he had made a terrible miscalculation. Then Bolanle met the housekeeper. Her name was Grace. Folarin returned from work one evening and found Bolanle standing in the kitchen with both of her hands on her waist. Gracie, ma, come remove this chicken from the freezer. Grace opened the freezer. Madam, should I put it in the fridge to thaw? Bolanle frowned. Thaw? What be that? Grace explained. Bolanle looked offended. You think say because you sabi English past me, you better pass me, ba? No ma, na me be your madam. When I say comot the chicken for the fridge, you comot am. Folarin entered. What is happening? Bolanle immediately smiled. Welcome, my sugar banana. Grace looked down. Folarin looked at Grace. Her shoulders were shaking. She was trying not to laugh. But there was one thing nobody could laugh at. Bolanle could cook. The first time she made amala, ewedu and gbegiri for Folarin, the man almost apologized to his ancestors. Her jollof rice could settle family disputes. Her pepper soup could resurrect somebody. Even Grace respected her in the kitchen. Unfortunately, everything outside the kitchen was another adventure. The first time Folarin took Bolanle to a corporate dinner, he almost cancelled at the entrance. He had bought her an elegant Adire gown. Bolanle wore it beautifully, then added a bright purple eyeshadow, red lipstick, the artificial beauty mark, and a huge gold handbag. Then when they arrived, she whispered, Fola, all this food that they see on are free? Yes, it's free. But before he could say anything, her eyes widened. Folarin told her to behave. 10 minutes later, Folarin found his wife wrapping small chops inside serviette. Bolanle, she looked up. What the hell are you doing? They keep him now, they keep him for tomorrow. Folarin looked around quickly. Bolanle, please. She frowned. All this food will remain, they go carry and go heaven. Folarin almost cried. It had become worse when his friends finally visited. The same friends who heard about his famous village wife. Folarin had spent the entire afternoon preparing Bolanle. Please don't shout. Please don't call me sugar banana. Please just relax. When his friends arrived, everything went surprisingly well. Bolanle served drinks beautifully. She greeted everyone politely, and Folarin began relaxing. Maybe he had worried for nothing. Then Tunde complimented her food. Madam, this chicken is amazing. Bolanle smiled proudly. Thank you. I kill her myself. Silence. Kunle slowly put down his fork. You did what? This morning now, Grace, they fear to hold the chicken. Now I hold him, use my leg, press the wing, cut him for your neck. Folarin closed his eyes. Bolanle continued explaining the entire process. By the time she finished, Kunle was laughing. Tunde looked at Folarin. Peaceful home, ba? Folarin kicked him underneath the table. But the embarrassment wasn't funny enough. Sometimes Folarin became genuinely frustrated. He corrected everything Bolanle did. How she spoke, how she dressed, how she ate, how loudly she laughed, and how she greeted people. Eventually, Bolanle stopped talking whenever they went out. At events, she sat quietly beside him. At home, however, she remained herself, and Folarin started wondering if he had made a mistake, marrying someone whose world was completely different from his. One evening, after Bolanle accidentally poured liquid soap into the dishwasher and filled half the kitchen with foam, Folarin finally snapped. "I can't keep doing this. You don't know anything." Bolanle froze, her smile disappeared. Folarin immediately regretted his words, but he was angry. "I have to explain every single thing, everything." Bolanle stared at him, then quietly asked, "I tell you, say I know all these things before you marry me. Now you come my house, you see where they stay. You know say I never go school before. You know say I never feel live for Lagos before. Shey na you one village wife." Those words silenced him. "Now you want somebody wey no dey like other women for here. Now I don't dey here. Every day you dey vex because say I no dey like other women." Folarin had no answer. That night, for the first time, he understood something. Bolanle had not deceived him. He had created an imaginary woman in his head and expected a real person to become her. The next morning, Folarin apologized. And instead of sending his wife back to the village, he asked her a question nobody has asked her before. "What do you want for your life?" Bolanle looked surprised. She eventually told him she has always wanted to continue her education. She had finished secondary school but never had the opportunity to go further. Folarin enrolled her in a foundation program. He also got her a private tutor. At first, it was difficult. Bolanle struggled with computers. Her soft-spoken English embarrassed her. Sometimes she returned home frustrated, but something became obvious very quick. Bolanle was not stupid. She was simply unexposed, and once she began learning, she learned fast. Months passed, her confidence changed, her English improved, her fashion changed too. Not because Folarin forced her, but because Bolanle had discovered that she loved clothes. She stopped drawing enormous eyebrows and learned makeup that complemented her features. She began styling her Ankara and Adire differently. The wrappers became tailored skirts, the oversized blouses became structured tops. The artificial beauty mark finally disappeared mostly. One evening, almost 2 years after their wedding, Folarin took Bolanle to dinner with his friends. Kunle arrived first, then Tunde. They were talking when Bolanle walked into the restaurant. Tunde stopped speaking. Bolanle wore an elegant Adire gown, simple gold earrings, and an understated makeup. Her hair was beautifully styled. She smiled. "Good evening, gentlemen." Kunle looked at Folarin, then back at Bolanle, then back to Folarin. "Wait." Bolanle laughed. "Yeah, it's me." Tunde stood up dramatically. "Where's my village wife?" Bolanle placed her handbag on the chair. "She's here," she said. Everyone laughed. And then she looked at Folarin. Everyone's eyes widened, and then she busted out laughing. Years later, whenever Folarin's friends talked about the kind of woman they wanted to marry, he never gave them an advice like he once did before. He had learned his lesson. A woman was not automatically better because she came from the village, and she was not automatically worse because she came from the city. Marriage wasn't about finding somebody inexperienced enough to mold them into whatever you wanted. It was about finding someone you respected enough to grow beside, and Bolanle did grow. So did Folarin, because the man who once went to the village looking for a wife he believed would never change him eventually discovered something he had never expected. The village wife he thought he needed to change was the one who ended up changing him too. I hope you learned a lesson from this story. See you guys in our next video. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to our channel so you can keep getting more juicy stories like this. Bye guys.